It's because of his work that Google makes it much better than anybody else, because he can predict what you're looking for. He told me in this interview, he said, Glenn, soon your computer, within 10 years, your computer will be the size of a blood cell and 1 billion times stronger, more powerful.
So was his thing that they'll inject that into your body then?
Yes.
And it'll run off your body's electrical current sort of thing?
I don't know about that, but I don't know. I didn't get that far. I didn't get that far into it. But I said, wait. Back up just a little bit and just talk to me about the iPad. And he said, Siri, for instance, we know, what can I help you with today? The next generation of that, what they're shooting for is that Siri you won't have to ask Siri for help. Siri will just be a part of your life. And so Siri will say, excuse me, sir, I know yesterday you were talking about this and this and this. Have you considered this, this, and this? And it will bring you the information. He said the next generation, what they're working towards, is you will not have to ask your computer a question. It will provide the answer before you ask it, because it will know you so well. If you have the new Google iPad, if you will, I don't even know what those things are called. What are they called, Stu? The new Google?
I don't know. Is it the Galaxy? Is that Google's?
Maybe. I think so. So one of the guys I work with has the Galaxy. And he said, he comes over and he's with me in the morning, and he said, Glenn, I used to put your address in to the Galaxy and use that as GPS. He said, I no longer have to do that. I no longer have to set my alarm. The Galaxy knows what time I get up, and it watched my pattern for a while, and so I don't have to set my alarm. I have to tell it I'm not going to do that today. And as soon as I hit the alarm, it automatically sets, as soon as I get in the car, it automatically changes my navigation to your house. So it anticipates your needs. Well, everybody will say, that's great. And he does too. That's fantastic. Well, here's what Ray said. Ray said, Glenn, and he pointed to the little speaker down at the bottom, the little microphone down at the bottom of the iPad. And he said, soon it will be able to anticipate. And I said, how will it do that? And he pointed to the speaker and he said, it will listen to you. It will listen to all of your conversations. It will read all of your emails. It will know what your next move is.
It's the Nexus, by the way, not the Galaxy. But that's amazing.
So now I said, so wait a minute, hang on just a second. You'll have all this information in Google? And he said, oh, yeah, all information, all medical information, everything has got to go into a central data bank. He said, because we'll be able to predict everybody's next move. And I said, Ray, at what point does that become Minority Report? His response, and I quote, look, everything has a trade-off. Excuse me? Minority Report is not a trade-off. We're not, hey, find the nearest pizza parlor is not a trade-off for, wait a minute, you're convicting me for a future crime? I asked him, how does competition even exist anymore? He said, what do you mean? It'll be easy because you'll be able to do anything. I said, no. If I wanted to put Google out of business, if I had a better idea, if all of the computers were listening to me and all of everything I searched online, everything I looked for, because remember, libraries would be a thing of the past because we'd all be connected to a central data bank. If I have a different idea that society, the culture, or business, or the government says, no, that's not it. For instance, you have an idea for a tea party. Do you think the GOP is going to want you to do that? If they control all of the computers, all of the information, names and addresses, a central government is going to let you start a tea party? They would have known exactly how many people were going to go to the mall on 8/28 when we did that. Do you think they would have allowed that to happen, allowed that to be seen? There's no way. There's no way. And if they control all information and all data, that also allows them to control all spending, all computers, all toll booths, everything. You're not going anywhere, Jack. Now, who thinks this is a good idea? I think it is a fantastic. I am not a technophobe. I'm starting an internet company. But who thinks that this is a good idea to allow somebody to have centralized information this big, this much? And when I talked to William Binney myself, the NSA whistleblower that you heard at the beginning of the segment, when I talked to him and 3 other whistleblowers, all from the NSA. And I said, we were off the air, and I said, what stops this? And they said, nothing. And I said, what do you mean? They said, only the American people can stop this. Only the American people completely rejecting this can stop this. And I said, well, is there anybody that you see in Congress or anywhere in the parties? He said, Glenn, the problem is they will always be convinced it's for the greater good. Sir, we have this information. Somebody is going to collect this information. If we collect this information, we'll be able to stop terror before it happens. We'll be able to stop this before it happens. We'll know about this before it happens. We'll know that there's a flu outbreak before it happens. If somebody doesn't collect this information on our side, somebody else will collect the information. And if you want to stop it, you better be so clean, so absolutely clean, that there's nothing out there on you at all. And that's when I go back to, but there's always something on somebody. There's always something you can use to smear them, to make them look bad. And if the laws are complex enough, you'll be in violation of something. Everybody always is. I guarantee you, in your life, I could take an 80,000-page document called the IRS bill and look through the IRS, and I can guarantee you I can claim income tax evasion on you because it's a weapon. They're collecting everything. If you don't think that there's a way for them to put pressure points on you, wait until they get the documents on your health and also everyone in your family. You know what? I think you're going to play ball because I noticed that your sister has cancer, and she's kind of getting elderly now, and I'm not sure if we can help her with that treatment. I know all of this sounds crazy, but almost everything that is happening in our world sounded crazy 5 years ago. When we told you these things would come, the things that are happening today, you called me crazy. Many people in this audience and way beyond this audience called me crazy. It's happening now. You don't give people this kind of power and this kind of technology. The good news is at the end of the interview, and I urge you to go to the Blaze and watch this interview 2 weeks ago from Ray Kurzweil, and you couple it with the NSA interview. When you see those two things, it should chill you to the core. I said to Ray Kurzweil, I said, are you a religious man at all, Ray? This is off the air. He said, no, there's some spirituality in the book. He didn't even address him. And I said, yeah, no, I wanted to know, have you ever read the story of the Tower of Babel? And he just smiled at me. And I said, well, just real quick, that was a loving God that tore down and scattered the people because they were all speaking one language. And they were building a tower to the sky. And God came down and said, if they can do this, they can do anything. I have to stop them. Let me ask you a question, Ray. If we get this technology within the next 10 years, is there anything that man cannot do? And he smiled and he said, not that I can think of.